Hi, I'm Ray with another podcast episode, this time about getting old. People say to me, "Oh, you're getting old." No, I'm not. I'm 70 next year, so I suppose that is aging a little bit, but I don't feel old. This is the point, I don't feel old at all. I remember when I was a kid, 10, 11, 12 years old, my neighbour, I saw him out in his front garden and he said, "Oh, it's my birthday today." And I thought, well, why are you telling me? I'm not getting you a present. And he said, "I'm 70 years and 10. And I said, oh, okay. And thinking, what's the silly old fool on about? Here comes an aeroplane now, listen. You can tell the sun's out. We're near Shoreham Airport. Well, they now call it Brighton and Hove, what is it, Brighton City Airport or something? Nothing to do with Brighton, it's Shoreham Airport. Typical council or whoever it is. I blame the government. I blame the government for getting old. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, yes. He said to me, "I'm 70 years and 10. Anyway, my mum said, "Oh, he's 70, that's 3 20s and blah, blah, blah." I can picture him standing in his front garden now. He looked old. Okay, I was young. When you're young, people look old if they're kind of 20 or 30. I don't look that old now, I'm sure I don't. I look in the mirror and I think I don't look that old. He was balding, he had sort of the egg head, with the hair around the side. I mean, I've got a full head of hair, absolutely masses of hair, which I suppose, well, mind you, these days a lot of young people are bald, aren't they? But he looked really old, and I can't think that I look that age. Talking of young people being bald, when I first went to work as an apprentice radio and television engineer, there was a chap in the workshop. I was 15. This chap in the workshop, he said, "How old do you think I am?" And I thought, I don't know. I said, "I don't know." I remember saying 50. I said, "I don't know, 50? "Oh, you cheeky." And he was having a go at me. And I said, "Well, I don't know how old you are." Anyway, he didn't tell me. And one of the other chaps in the workshop, he was sniggering. He said, "Dave, that is." He said, "Dave's 23. And I said, "No, he's not." He said, "Yes, he is. He's 23. He looked like an old man. He had the egghead, with the hair around the sides." See, in those days, if you're going bald at that sort of age, you didn't shave it all off like they do now. I mean, these days, a chap of 23 that's totally bald, you don't think anything of it. But also, it wasn't just his hair, his whole demeanour, the way he was, the way he spoke, he sort of hunched over. He looked like a chap in his 50s, and he was 23. I won't mention his surname in case he's still around. But 23, I couldn't believe it. Poor chap never had any girlfriends as far as I knew. I think he left and joined the police in the end. He's probably still a policeman. No, he'd be retired now, wouldn't he? But you know what I mean about getting old. I think anyone that's old, they don't think they look old. If I'm lucky enough to have a girl in her 20s sort of smile at me, I think, oh, yeah, she's looking at, a good-looking man, She's not. In her eyes, she's looking at some silly old fool who's coming up to 70 with hair that's too long for his age, looks like an ex-hippie. Well, I am an ex-hippie. But, in her eyes, she's seeing this old boy of 70. And what I'm thinking she's seeing is this quite attractive, distinguished gentleman. When I say lucky enough to have a girl in her 20s smile at me, I mean, it's an everyday occurrence. It happens all the time. All these young women look at me. As my wife would say, in your dreams. I first realised I was getting old a few years ago. I was laying some paving slabs in the back garden. Well, actually lifting them and levelling them and then laying them again. Putting some sand down to get them level. I was on my knees and I couldn't get up. My back was aching. I thought, here we go, I can't move. I managed to get up, my knees ached, and I had 8 paving slabs to lift and relay, and I did 2 a day. Can you believe it? It took me 4 days. When I was younger, I'd have done that in a couple of hours. Not even that, an hour, lift one up, level it out with the sand, bung that one back. I could hardly get down onto my knees. When I was down, I could hardly get up. That was, I don't know how long ago that was, about 5 years. And I thought then, good grief, I'm getting old. You don't realise this is the thing. I don't go up into the loft anymore. My wife, she's younger than me. She goes up into the loft. I don't like sort of putting the ladder down and climbing up there. I might get stuck or I might fall out. Another thing I worry about is falling over. You hear about these people, they fall over, whether outside on the pavement or in the home, in the garden. They go to hospital with a broken hip. And very often that's it. That's the end of it. What happened? Oh, I broke my hip. Oh, did you? Yeah, I'm dead. Well, not dead necessarily, but when you get older, if you break your hip, it can be a disastrous thing. So I'm now very wary of when I'm walking. I nearly tripped over the other day. I was going into the shed, end of the garden, walked down the path, into the shed. I don't know how I tripped. I have no idea how I did it. But I went head first into the shed. I tripped on the step, head first into the shed. Luckily, I managed to grab something and stop myself from going head first into this bench that I've got at the back. That could have been disastrous. Or possibly fatal. You don't know, do you? I was eligible for a bus pass when I was 60. And I mean, that's 10 years ago. I thought, bus pass? I don't want a bus pass. I'm at work. I mean, I'm still working now. I haven't retired yet. But a bus pass? I don't want a bus pass. I think that's ridiculous. Fancy giving a bus pass to someone of 60 years old. They get the bus to work and back. This is what people do, isn't it? Well, that's not really right, is it? That's not fair. I got the old age pension, the state pension, when I was 65. Of course, that's changed now, isn't it? For a lot of people, they don't get that. I think, is it 67 or whatever? And my wife, she, normally the women got them at 60. I think she's now got to wait till she's 67 or whatever it is. I was coming downstairs a few months back, and my left knee, I could feel it go click or crack or whatever it did, and it gave way. It was as if my left leg wasn't there anymore. I grabbed the banister. Luckily, I could have fallen down the stairs. And my left knee ached. I managed to hobble into the lounge and sat down. I thought, what's going on here? A few days later, I went round to the doctor because it was that bad. Actually, I remember years ago, I didn't go to the doctor from one year to the next. I remember filling in a form. Often you fill in a form, what's your doctor's name and the address. I didn't know my doctor's name. I never went round there. I'd been there for kind of 5, 6, 7 years or more. Whereas now, I've got to know my doctor quite well. She's quite nice, actually. It seems I'm always round there, one thing and another. Anyway, she said my knee is arthritis. I said, arthritis? Old people get arthritis. She said, well, you are old. I thought, well, that's nice. She laughed. She said, actually, children can get arthritis, which is true, isn't it? It's dreadful. Imagine getting arthritis as a child. It's bad enough at my age, but then, good grief. Anyway, she said, I've also got arthritis in my hip. So I thought it was sciatica, the sciatic business. I thought it was that. But she said, no, it's arthritis. She said, you're an old fool. Well, she didn't say that, but I knew that's what she was thinking. Actually, I don't think she was thinking that, because I know she fancies me. She's in her 30s, late 30s, early 40s. Whenever I go into it, I always see her grin. She thinks, oh, look, it's him again. I like him. They all fancy me around there. The nurses. I had blood the other day. Oh, dear, that hurt. I had to have a blood test. Only a regular thing. That hurt. She was young, late 20s. I could see by the look on her face, she looked at me and thought, oh, look at this, he's a handsome man. Again, as my wife would say, in your dreams. There are a lot of things that I used to be able to do that I can't do now. The trouble is, as you get older, I think your body gets older, but your mind stays young. Well, mine does. Sometimes I still think I'm late teens, early 20s. And then my body says, hang on a minute, we're not doing that. As I said about kneeling down, other things as well, reaching up to paint the ceiling. I've got to paint the bathroom ceiling. I've been wanting to do that for the last 2 years. I haven't done it because it's either my knee hurts, my back hurts. I had a frozen shoulder. That went on for years. Was it the physio said to me, I can either inject it with cortisone or something, or you can do exercises or do nothing. And I said, well, what if I do nothing? He said, it'll heal up eventually. Could be 3 to 5 years. So I said I'd do exercises, but I didn't. I did nothing. And he was right, 3 to 5 years. It's about 5 years. Even now it twitches. But you've got to be so careful. The things that I used to do, I've got to think, hang on a minute. Can I kneel down there? Can I reach up there? I better not twist my back. I better not hurt my hip or my knee. The doctor's given me, 3, 4 different types of tablets to take each day. I think, is it statins, one of them? I don't know what they're all for. Old prostate, isn't it? I have to keep getting up in the night. 6 times I have to get up in the night. I won't go into the details, but I went to the osteo bloke, whatever he's called, the gynecologist. No, that's not right, is it? Urologist. I went to him. It's getting windy out there. But we don't have. I think we've got more rain on the way. Listen to that wind. I must do something about getting a soundproof studio, because there's rabbits, there's neighbours drilling and hammering and sawing, and there's wind, lashing rain. So he said to me, well, we can operate, which I wouldn't advise. He said, or you can just soldier on. So I thought, soldier on. I said, oh, well, I'll have to soldier on then. Soldier on meaning get up 6 times a night. It is. I look at the clock, 1 o'clock. Next time, 2 o'clock. Then it's 3:30. And then it's 4. And it goes on and on. 6 times, not on average, at the maximum. Between 4 and 6 times every night. I've got... Listen to that now. That's my phone. There's a news flash. I'll have to sort out a studio, won't I? The tablets work, because without them, it's just absolutely hopeless. I won't go into details, but they've got side effects. Oh dear, side effects are dreadful. Anyway, let's move on from that. We don't want to get involved in urology and gynecology and all that nonsense. What I said about rabbits, and the noise of the rabbits, what it is, the rabbits chase around. They've got a big run outside. We've got seagulls that come down. The rabbits frighten the seagulls, or try to. The seagulls scream and take off and flap around the place. The squirrels also frighten the pigeons. They chase the pigeons, and there's all flapping around going on. Honestly, we've got so much wildlife, apart from our own pets. Actually, the rabbits aren't pets, they're rescue rabbits. We get them from the RSPCA. Well, they're sort of pets, but they're mainly rescue rabbits. And what with the wind and lashing rain and Shoreham Airport with aircraft taking off and goodness knows what else, I could probably sit here and not say anything and just let you enjoy all the background noise. Here comes another plane. I think I better pause it this time until the plane's gone over. Of course, another thing that makes you realise you're getting on a bit is when you go somewhere like a National Trust place or whatever, a gardens or a castle. I go with my wife and they'll say, right, so that's 1 adult and 1 OAP. They don't say old age pensioner anymore, do they? They'll say 1 senior citizen. My wife calls me a senile citizen. But they look at me, senior citizen. They haven't even asked my age. I might not be a senior citizen. I might just look a little bit older than I am. Sometimes in the supermarket, if we're buying bottles of wine or whatever, I'll say to the girl on the till, I'll say, it's okay, I am 18. Some of them just look at me and frown, and others laugh. It's just in case they wonder whether I'm over 18 or not. It's funny, in your younger years, when you're sort of 13, 14, you like to think you're 16. You say, oh, I'm 16. You're not at all. You're a sort of kid of 13 or whatever. And as you get older, now some people lie about their age. You know, that's something I've never done. If someone says, how old are you? I'm 69. I don't lie about my age. There's this woman that we know. Right, this is quite funny. We know her and her daughter. And she's always doing this. We were at this function thing, whatever it was, and she was saying to someone, oh, I'm 62. And my wife and I looked at each other, 62. So we'd all had a few drinks and were having a bit of a laugh. So I said to her, well, hang on, if you're 62 now, then you must have had your daughter when you were 11. Of course, everyone laughed. She was highly embarrassed. She said, no, you don't know my daughter's age. Then, of course, my wife said, yeah, well, your daughter is whatever. Eventually, the daughter came and joined us. And I said, just out of interest, how old are you? And she told us. And I said, oh, so your mum had you when you were 11. Anyway, it was all highly embarrassing for the mother. But it serves her right. She's always going around saying she's about 20 years younger than she is. And you can see that she's not that young. Good grief. I remember her daughter actually said in the end, my mum's 72, that's what it was. She used to knock 10 years off her age, which then made she would have had the girl when she was 11 years old, and she wasn't. She was 21 when she had the daughter. Even some men that I know, say, how old are you then? Just out of interest. Oh, that's for me to know. I'm not telling you how old I am. Why? Does it matter? I don't care if people know how old I am. If they ask me, I'll tell them I'm 54. People talk about growing old graciously or disgracefully. I prefer disgracefully myself. Funny how sometimes people say, oh, act your age. I have other people of my age say to me, act your age. Not many, but you get some old people are miserable. I hope I'm not miserable. Mind you, some young people are miserable. Some young people act as if they're old, don't they? Not the chap that looked old. I don't know, I suppose he did act old, but you can get a man of 30 who is an old man. You can get a man of 70 who's a young man. I'm talking about not looks, obviously, but the way he is, the way he acts, the things he says. I've never thought of myself as old, even though I am old. I'm young. I'm enjoying myself. All right, I've got aches and pains and loads of tablets to take, but I'm young. There's one friend of mine in particular. He's a miserable old, nearly said something then, miserable old devil. He always says, oh, act your age and grow up. Grow up? I don't want to grow up. I don't want to act my age. If acting my age is someone of 70, some miserable old git, then I don't want to act my age. I want to act younger than my age. There we are. We're all different. I'm sure that the majority of old people don't think of themselves as old. Young in mind, isn't it? Young in heart, young in mind, or whatever. I like enjoying myself, I like having a laugh, I like having good fun. Obviously the time will come, won't it, when, I've got a bit deaf. Luckily my hearing is all right. I've got tinnitus. Is it tinnitus, ringing in your ear? I don't know what that is. Something strange going on there. But I wear glasses, but I can still sort of see all right. I can hear okay. But, things will deteriorate. Well, they are, actually. That's why I have to get up at night so many times. Things are deteriorating. But there we are. 10 years from now, I suppose. Will I be sitting here 10 years from now doing another podcast episode? I wonder. That'd be funny if I am, won't it? Or I'll be there, heading for 80, the big one. Yeah, the big 80. Okay, I've bored you long enough. Thanks for listening. And listen out for the next episode, which will be, where are we, next Sunday. Enjoy the summer. I hope you're enjoying the summer. I shall see you then. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye for now.